Hey, it's Julie at Love's Beginning, and I have a talk today called The Utter Safety of Heaven. Just to start with the word heaven, the idea of heaven, what comes to me is that is where every being is right now, is and always has been and always will be. And I don't want to forget that. I don't want to, although I perceive that I am somewhere else, heaven is where I always am, and it's where everyone always is. And if I'm perceiving anybody is not in their true location, in eternal, changeless oneness, there's help for me here. And that's the whole point of my experience here, is to accept that help that is here for me to help me remember where I truly am and how safe I am, even though I may be perceiving things differently. So, the first idea that was given to me was when you feel any kind of disquiet, this is attached to thoughts related to fear of future outcomes. So throughout this, what got emphasized again and again and again was fear of future outcomes. And I can really feel the impact of this and the invitation. I could feel the invitation to kind of be led by the hand back into the now and to truly understand and remember my safety is in the now, and my safety is equally in seeing you as held within the now. That becomes more important than anything. So the many, many times I awaken out of thoughts of ego every day, it's to be led by the hand and to be returned to the safety of the now. In the now, spirit handles everything that could be perceived as separate. And I follow if something comes to me to do or say, I follow. But I'm the follower. I'm only the leader as I am unified in that oneness. And then there really is no leading and following. So maybe I could seem to play a leader role in a dream, in an illusion, in a hallucination. But if I identify with and as that, I'm lost and confused. I have to rest. I have to rest here and now and allow everything to be taken care of for me. It feels like that is where the sanity is. Outside of that, it feels like insanity. So we can trust our feelings because our feelings are the back and forth. So we can trust them to show us that we're attached to something that isn't real. And we could work on letting that go. And the states of mind that are prior to that back and forth feeling, love, joy, peace. That's just here. That's what's real. That's what's unending. That's what's changeless. If I superimpose an illusion on that peace that seems to disturb it, that's my doing in mind. So I'm getting what I wanted. I only put something in front of peace when I want something in front of peace. So I'm understanding my role in this and the importance of the now. Okay, so another idea was given. You are always held in love, always carried, always cherished, always blessed. If this is true of you, this is true of all, always. And the most important thing is for me to remember that. Now, if I want to see myself as always held in love, I'm going to need to see everyone else, with no exceptions, as always held in love. I won't be able to see myself in a way that if I'm not seeing you that way, I'm not going to be able to see myself that way. And if I'm pretending I see myself in a way that I'm not seeing you, I'm just pretending. It's just part of the hallucination. And it's showing up because I wanted it. And I can find more and more every feeling of disquiet indicates something I wanted more than I wanted peace. And I can just let go of it. Every separate thing that I think I want, that I think will gratify, I can let go. And I haven't let go of everything yet. I have experiences every day of disturbance and disquiet. That's okay, because I know more deeply what they mean, and I know what I can do to respond when I seem to have caught myself in my own lie again, my own, not my thoughts. Ego sends me thoughts, but I did invent ego. But those lies, getting intentionally entangled in those lies that ego sends. Ego has thoughts about everybody and everything, and all of them are lies. So just keeping my head on straight about that. It's a constant stream of thought that comes to me. I have to be aware enough to know that none of it is true. Okay. When you feel irritation or boredom, when you feel burdened or oppressed, this is how it feels to be attached to thoughts about fear of future outcomes. So that, again, was really getting emphasized for me. If I feel bored, it's because I'm attached to thoughts about fear of future outcomes. So to be released from my preferred state of boredom, boredom can only come when I prefer something more than joy. When I prefer something more than love. Well, what would I prefer? What exists other than love? Nothing. So it would be an illusion. It's me with my collection of illusions, and I cannot blame anybody else. I cannot put the responsibility on anyone else. If we are love joined eternally in changelessness, who else is there to be responsible for this state of affairs when I feel disquiet? No one else. Truly, we are all joined in love eternally, in eternal changelessness, in eternal peace, and eternal joy. That's the truth of us. So if boredom seems to come, if irritation seems to come, the ego story about separate bodies and segments of time and physical cause and effect, the ego can tell me any number of stories about how something not me caused irritation, but that story will never, ever, ever, ever be true. It will never be true. It can't be true. It's just a tale. A tale as old as time, because time is another story. Time is another illusion. So just to remember, when these stories come up that attempt to explain states of mind, you feel this way because ego insert story. No. Just to have the presence of mind to remember, no, just no. What is real here is real and present in everybody and everything. And I can stop and rest and remember that. I can rest in the now, and I can allow myself to be guided from there. So there's like a firmness or resolve here. Like, I allow myself to get fooled and by ego's thoughts, and it's on me, not that I'm blameworthy ever for anything, because you aren't worthy of blame for anything ever. So how could I be if you aren't? Mirrors. Not in blame, in responsibility. I am responsible for my state of mind. That feels more important than it has ever felt before. Okay, so let's see. You learn with everyone around you to make a world that reflects joy back to you. So this making is important because before I stop playing with hallucination, with dreaming, with illusion, I learn how I make things. None of the things I make here are real or true, but I make things that look separate. And other things seem to cause other things. And I make them with my thoughts. And I can make it scary, or I can make it benign. The benign is just a reflection of what truly is. The benign world is not real. It's just as much an illusion as the scary world, as the world that means people not well. It's the world that kills people, right? In the end, what happens to bodies? They die. The happy world is just as much of a dream or an illusion or hallucination as the unhappy world. I make them both. So in my journey, I learn simply you stop making this and you allow the other one to come into view. Why do I allow it to come to view? Because I still value hallucinating more than just what I am. But I allow a benign and kind hallucination to come into view, and I realize nothing has ever threatened me. Nothing has ever hurt me. Nothing has ever been damaged. Despite all the stories I believe I have experienced in many different bodies in many different ways, I have never done wrong. I have never harmed anything, despite all the stories in which I cast myself in the role of aggressor and wrongdoer. It's not true. It didn't happen. It seems to have happened because we're in this chosen perception of time and chosen perception of space. But it's perception, and perception isn't reality. So remembering that I make my experience with thoughts, and there are two places I can get my thoughts. I invented ego to send me strife thoughts, separateness thoughts, fear thoughts, vulnerability thoughts, threat thoughts. All of those thoughts are from ego, and none of them are true. They seem to be true, and they can be proven with evidence from a made-up world that I'm hallucinating. But if the evidence is coming from a world that is being hallucinated, then it's just another hallucination. Like, you prove your dream world is real with evidence from your dream. That doesn't prove that your dream world is real. So, where was I going with this? I don't remember. But we learn to allow the world to show up as a reflection of what truly is. Love, peace, joy. And we do this through our willingness to recognize that we are believing thoughts. And the thoughts we believe make the world. The world, the hallucination made does not cause the hallucination. The world doesn't cause further aspects in the world. My thoughts cause the world I experience. And the thoughts can come from ego, which I invented to have an experience of separation. Check, done, did that. Or they can come from spirit. What I am, what you are, what's real. All of my thoughts can come from what's real or what's unreal. And when I make my number one priority noticing how I feel, not how you feel, that's up to you. Noticing how I feel, and that is not selfish, to make my number one priority noticing how I feel. Because when I'm not feeling good, I'm making a world of strife. And I ought to cut it out because it's within my power. When I feel at peace, when I feel love, and that's not because people are sucking up to me or kissing my ass or giving me approval. I mean, I feel the love you are. I feel the love I am. I feel our connectedness, and it's not because of something I got or extracted from you. It's because it's what's real and true, and I'm willing to see that. When I feel that, I'm accepting my thoughts from spirit. Or it doesn't have to come in the form of what we think of as thoughts. It can be like a no thought flow. But what it shares is it's peaceful, it's joyous, it's loving. When I feel those things, I'm accepting my thoughts from the source that makes a kind illusion. But even a kind illusion passes away. A kind illusion is not eternal. It just gives us that beat, that moment to say, we didn't need an illusion. And then we let it go. But when I'm busy making a world of strife, it's because of my busy mind and my many beliefs. And today is always the day to become aware of those beliefs, to say the buck stops here. They're mine. They're not anybody else's. That's why how I feel is so important. Because when I don't feel good, it is always because I believe a thought from ego. If I can locate it, rest in a moment of willingness to remember that it isn't true, I open the door for Spirit's thoughts to flow into my mind. I open the door for the awareness that you are light to come into my mind, to be returned home in my awareness to heaven, to remember that I've always been there and I've never been harmed, and neither have you. Although we have been dreaming of it, we don't have to deny that we've been dreaming of harming and being harmed. But we can also remember that we've been held in harmony this whole time. Okay, so we learn with everyone around us to make a world that reflects joy back to us. Why? Because everyone's our mirror. It's not like I'm smarter than you are, so I learn it first. Because you're so fortunate, I teach you how. No. I allow you to show up as the sanity and goodness without opposite and kindness that you are. Because I chose to see you as you are. That's why. And so mirrors looking at mirror, together we make a world that reflects joy back to us. And then realizing we don't need the reflection, we are joy. Joy doesn't need to look at its reflection. Joy just is joy. Then we let it go. But mirror looks at mirror. Isn't that you're particularly fortunate to learn from me, or I'm particularly fortunate to learn from you? We are the same. Mirror looks at mirror. Something in there is dawning on me, and so I'm inviting that into my awareness, into my moment by moment awareness of every day. Something I don't want to forget is how whole and complete you are right now, because if I allow myself to see that in you, I finally allow myself to see that in me. Okay, the last thing was you remember, along with everyone you call else, because they are your reflections, there we go, to accept thought from Spirit that makes a world reflecting the utter safety of heaven. How does this happen? Miraculously, in ways we don't understand, in ways we don't want to give power to now because we don't think it's possible. This type of change in what we are seeing, hearing, experiencing. Huge, massive change is possible very quickly. But when we think change has to come through human effort because the humans are guilty and have to make up for the fact that they've done wrong, we're going to keep ourselves stuck in a world of strife. But as I say that, I know we're emerging from it. So that's not how it ends. We do emerge from the world of strife. But not because we believe we've actually done wrong. Not because we believe beings have actually been harmed. In the story, people have been harmed and hurt. And I've harmed and I've hurt. In the story, yes. But when you remember that you're not a people, you're not a person, you're not a human, you're not a man, you're not a woman, you're not a child, you're not an adult. You are a being. And you share one being with everyone. You share that equality with everyone all the time. And when I see anything different, it's because I wanted it. And I don't have to feel guilty about that. It was a confusion, it was a mistake. And when can that mistake get set right? Now. That is why I need to dwell in the now and accept all the gifts that the now can bring, because the now will affect our perception and show us a reflection of what we all truly are. Joined eternally. So there is my, rising awareness, fresh commitment. This is important. And no one else has to do it. I don't have to campaign to get, I just realized I had the dehumidifier running this whole time. I hope that wasn't loud. I don't have to campaign to get people to do this with me. You're my mirrors. If I wave in the mirror, my reflection is going to wave back at me. So in the human sense, I don't need to get you to do anything. No, I just need to see how fully you are my reflection and to trust what you are, to trust the love that we are, and to let that determine everything, not an analysis or a judgment of where humans went wrong. I stay in replicating a world of strife in endless different forms if I think the solution is going to come from my judgment or analysis of where humans went wrong and trying to correct that on the human level. I'm not human, you're not human, but we play one on TV. The solution comes not from the fiction we're living. The solution comes from prior to that, and I can allow it. And as I can allow it, you can allow it. So thank you, love you, wishing you well, and happy healing.